Ramadan.
Yes, we are keeping you company on the Iftar Drive this Ramadan, Alhamdulillah, and we will take you through to Maulana Yunus Kawanga, and he will take you through with the spiritual hour leading up to the time of Iftar in Johannesburg. And as we enjoy the mercy of this beautiful and this blessed and this noble month of Ramadan, once again, Alhamdulillah, many people, individuals, organizations, and one of them being Africa Muslims Agency, spreading mercy across the world. And we're talking about their Ramadan initiatives in Gaza, in Syria, in Malawi. And this is the reason why we are talking with regional manager of Africa Muslims Agency. We are now joined by Hafiz Hussain Choonara. Hafiz Hussain, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Kareem to you. Alhamdulillah, we're already in the second third of this month of Ramadan, and I'm sure it's going very well, but very busy for you as well.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Uncle Inayat, and to all the viewers and listeners of Salam Media, Ramadan Mubarak to you. And absolutely, the month is absolutely flying past, and we are already in the days of forgiveness in the blessed month of Ramadan.
Inshallah, and we make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes us amongst those whom He will be forgiving in the month of Ramadan, inshallah. But let's talk about AMA, and I know this is an extremely busy period for AMA, for yourselves and everybody else that is associated with the organizations. We've completed these 10 days of mercy, but yet AMA still continues sharing mercy across the world with food, with water, with fasting as well. And I see working in 23 nations in Ramadan, Hafiz Hussain.
Alhamdulillah, only through the mercy of Allah and generosity of donors, African Muslims Agency has rolled out the Meals of Mercy movement, which is in 23 nations. Only through the mercy of Allah and generosity of donors, Alhamdulillah, this will continue, inshallah. So countries from South Africa, we're talking Africa, we're talking Malawi, Mozambique, Mauritania, Chad, the Comore Islands. You're talking in the Middle East, Afghanistan, in the Middle East, in Gaza, in Syria, Lebanon, and Asia as well, is in Lebanon, Turkey, Syria, Sri Lanka, and other parts of the world. So the Meals of Mercy movement is in action, it's in motion in 23 nations over the past 3 days. Over the past few weeks and months, preparation has been taking place as we headed into the month of Ramadan. And our first iftar took place in Gaza. Iftar also taking place last night in Gaza as well. And over the past week or 10 days in many of the nations, as mentioned. So, identifying communities that are in need across the world and encouraging the listeners, the viewers, to join African Muslims Agency in the Meals of Mercy movement, to share of your mercy. As we know, in the few minutes, as people are preparing for iftar in Southern Africa, it's been a few moments time, probably in Johannesburg, where people will be sitting with their families, with their communities to sit for iftar. Let it be that you share of your plate. Let it be that you share of your mercy, so that Allah can bless you with His mercy, so that other communities can be benefited as well, inshallah.
Yes, certainly, Hafiz Hussain. And also, we are talking about a region that was very close, that's very close to our heart. It's always been close to the heart of even our beloved Prophet, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We're talking about the Sham, and yeah, we include Gaza, we include Palestine, we include Syria as well. And I know the refugee camps in Lebanon as well, working among Syrians as well. So let's just talk about that effort in that part of the world, specifically, Hafiz Hussain.
Absolutely. So, as mentioned earlier, Uncle Inayat, that we had iftar programs and continue to have iftar programs and hampers that are distributed in Gaza, in the refugee camps in the different areas. Alhamdulillah, last night was an iftar as well that took place there. And I'm sure the footage will be updated on our social media pages at Africa Muslims Agency. In Lebanon, in the Syrian and Palestinian camps, last night we had an iftar from the Syrian camps, from the Amman School of Excellence, and iftar took place there for the Syrian and Palestinian children. Distribution taking place daily of bread in Syria, in Damascus was yesterday, as well as today, and of course in Lebanon, as well as in other parts like Yemen, as well. Distributions taking place there, and of course in Asia, we're looking at places like Afghanistan, Uncle Inayat, a country that's forgotten, that's not in the news, but a country that's in massive, massive, massive need as well.
Yes, and let's just come closer to home and let's talk about Africa now. We know there is an aspect of your campaign called Drops of Mercy, and this is about providing water through Sadaqah in Ramadan. And I know you recently visited Malawi. Can you tell us what Ramadan is like in Malawi? We're talking about villages, we're talking about the most rural areas of Malawi, specifically regarding access to water.
Absolutely, Uncle Inayat. Just thinking about a few weeks ago, like you mentioned, when I was in Malawi, and I was sitting there with, I was sitting there with a family, and I asked the family, and this is before Ramadan, obviously, where I asked them, what they're eating for the day, and they were literally showed me to the pot next to them, where they would took the grass and they were boiling that and consuming that for their meal. So I asked them, what are you going to do in Ramadan? And how would they break their fast? And the lady just said to me, as you're sitting outside her hut in a village on a scorch of a day, she basically said, we keep fasting until we have something to break our fast with. So these are the communities, these are the villages that are in need of, yes, food, but also in need of water, because people live off the land, which means they need water to grow, to farm and grow crops, to grow vegetables, so they can sell in the market, so that they don't have to face another Ramadan where they have to, boil grass or anything of that sort. So the Drops of Mercy is to empower these communities with water wells and boreholes in these villages. And we encourage you to support and empower these villages, whether you donate, on behalf of those that are passed on in your family, whether on of your children, but fulfill your niyyah and give the greatest of gifts in donating water well, boreholes, even towards that as well, inshallah.
Yes, and let's just talk a bit about empowerment and with these water wells. How does this actually impact on the people in this village in terms of empowerment, and how does this impact on their lives?
On a massive level, of course, once they receive the water well in their village, it's the tangible difference of having access to clean drinkable water. But it's also the what we don't see. For example, children can now go to school instead of walking distances to fetch water. People can have the dignity of washing in their own home, of having clean water. People can cook, people can farm and grow crops. So, I mean, when I was there just a few weeks ago, literally people taking dirty water, contaminated water from a contaminated stream. I mean, with every kind of dirt, in it until the night, and people just dipping their cups in it and drinking from there. So that's the condition right now. But I mean, we know what the need is. I think the real question mark is what's in your heart. That's the real question mark, because Allah does. We remind ourselves, Allah doesn't need us to change any situation, but He brings to our awareness the situation of people in Malawi, in Mozambique, in different parts of the world, for us to fulfill our niyyah. Because in these days of mercy and now forgiveness, we want Allah to forgive us. We want Allah to remember us. We want Allah to, to bless us with His mercy, and then forgive us, and then save us from the fire of hell. So these are the opportunities He gives us by making us aware of what's the situation of humanity around the world. In the hadith, Allah comes to the assistance of those, He comes to the assistance of another human being. What more so in the blessed month of Ramadan? You assist somebody else, Allah comes to your assistance. And who of us is without need, without Allah, is without wanting Allah's assistance? We all want it. So let us see what we can do in the sharing of our mercy, of our plate, in providing food and water to communities in South Africa and across the world, inshallah.
Yes, and also I think, I just want to come even closer to home, and I want to talk about Mozambique as well. And I know Hafiz was saying, even looking at it in Malawi as well, in terms of your program, in terms of implementing your program, executing your program, your work that you do, all of it is done in a holistic way. And this, at the end of the day, it's all about supporting people, and also the masajid that have been built by AMA and supporting communities that surround these masajids. And let's just talk a bit about these programs and how they are implemented in these countries.
Absolutely. So all the programs for Ramadan is taking place at the masajid that have been sponsored by donors of African Muslims Agency, whether it's in the north of Mozambique or in Malawi. So these are rural communities, far remote areas. I mean, reaching these areas, our teams, and of course we've experienced it many times. You either go by 4x4 and then end up bringing a motorbike or walking to reach these villages. But there's a massive need in these communities, and that's why we focus on whether it's establishing a masjid and then doing Ramadan feeding at these masajid where communities can come together, learn, pray, but also congregate in the festivities of the blessed month of Ramadan. So these are the, and of course we've updated feedback from these countries on our social media pages at African Muslims Agency.
Yes, and just finally, Hafiz Hussain, let's talk about the live pledge this week, hosted by Africa Muslims Agency, and again, to raise money to get people to actually sponsor community iftars around the world.
Absolutely. Africa Muslims Agency is hosting a live pledge on Hilal TV on this Friday night at 9:30 p.m. Esteemed guests are in studio, but I would encourage you come together as a businessman, as communities, as youth, as housewives, and say, look, who's going to take responsibility as we sit in the minutes before iftar today? Who's going to pledge to support another family for iftar? Who's going to support to feed 400 people in the blessed month of Ramadan and earn their reward of fasting as well? Who's going to support a community, whether they're in Gaza, South Africa, Malawi, Afghanistan, or any part of the world? This is the opportunity this Friday, live on Hilal TV, inshallah. Please support the Meals of Mercy movement by African Muslims Agency.
Well, Jazakallah khairan so much for that. I see you are traveling, Hafiz Hussain. Allah take you safely to wherever you're going. You reach your destination safely as well. And as always, we thank you. We say Jazakallah khairan for taking time out with us right here on Salam Media. Wishing you and everybody else associated with Africa Muslim Agency well. Allah Ta'ala accept, Allah reward all your efforts, all the hard work and all the effort that you put into in making a difference in the lives of people right across the entire world, inshallah.
Allah take you and the radio station Salam Media from strength to strength and bless you for all the sterling work that you do as well. Jazakallah for the opportunity.
Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was Regional Manager of Africa Muslim Agency, Hafiz Hussain Choonara, with us. And with that, straight on 5:30 p.m. and we're going for a quick break. We come back and we link up with Maulana Yunus Kawanga, the spiritual hour, taking you to the time of iftar in Johannesburg.